Mako, and welcome to Naleo TV's County Council Candidate Podcast, where we're here to inform you of your options during the upcoming primary election on August 8th. I'm your host, Makana Waikiki, and I'm joined here by District 2 candidate BLAINE KENJI Bautista. Oh my gosh, I love that name so much. Thank you so much for joining us and being here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you have decided to run for County Council?
Awesome. Mahalo for having me here. My name is, again, BLAINE KENJI Bautista. I'm running for District 2 for Hawaii County Council. Basically, you know, I've been born, living here, went to Waikea, graduated. Been in the community involvement. My background is I'm a judo coach, friend, uncle, family member, very close-knit with, try to be close-knit with the community as much as I can.
Epic. Judo, epic. Yeah. I'm too afraid to take judo, but that's okay.
No, you should come. That's how you learn how to fall,
Oh, that's a good lesson. Okay. So you talked a little bit about your background, things you enjoy doing. Obviously, we're a community here in Hilo, but also on Hawaii Island. Can you talk a little bit deeper about the values that you have and how they shape your decision making if you were to have a role in the council?
Right. I'm very family oriented, so a lot of my views is dealing with family oriented. So the homelessness around Hilo, people forget the humanity of giving back. A lot of people, sometimes it could be a mental health issue, but some might have issues with just bad luck, losing a job, not having that money, getting kicked out, and then people just find drug abuse and that kind of stuff. So trying to get them back on their feet, I think, is very important, and that's one of my views that I will probably talk about with that. But family oriented, I'm big in sports. I'm a fan of JE guys and stuff. One of my things is for tourism to generate money is to get more sports related stuff. Not why do we always have to go out to Oahu or the mainland? They can come here. We have plenty land. We should be able to do a lot of things to generate more funds and stuff for the economy.
I love that you brought up the economy, but then in association with sports. So exciting. I'm going to jump right in. The county faces significant financial challenges, including a projected budget shortfall in the coming years. When resources are extremely limited and you have high need, how do you set priorities? And then would you consider raising taxes or fees to accommodate that?
That's a hard one. I mean, in all honesty, to generate income, since, the cost of living in Hawaii is so high. One of my things would be, look into not only my district, but other districts that have acres and acres of land to be more, farm, agriculture, try to generate monies that way. That way, we can sustain food on our island, because sugarcane fields, they have plenty. We should utilize those for, agriculture. And I know some parts we do, but I think we should leverage that more. That way, the cost of living comes down. Housing crisis, right? That too, acres of land. I mean, the cost of living is crazy. 10 years ago, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, norm $250, $300. Now it's double that. That's and for a family of 3 or 4, that's hard to dish out, especially if you want to buy a house now. I mean, we're looking at at least $2,500 monthly mortgage to $3,000. Unthinkable, I think. But tourism, sports tourism, we can only rely on Mayor Monarch to generate the economy. I would say have sporting events like the regattas. I know that does well for the hotels, the fooderies, the restaurants around town, and the small businesses, they walk around, they buy stuff. I mean, we just gotta think outside the box, I feel.
Love that. Those ideas are great. one of the things that you brought up was affordability specific to housing, which does sort of feel like far away, right? The idea of owning a home, especially for our families. Housing affordability, of course, remains one of those biggest concerns for residents on Hawaii Island. What actions do you think that the county can realistically take to increase housing opportunities while also preserving the character and resources of those communities?
So I know that county council just passed a bill, so to lower the taxes, which is great. But we should be looking into more of how tax incentives are good too. Like for the kupuna, they're lived on fixed income and stuff. So we should look into like how we can help them too, because I know they get older, so their fixed income is like, are you gonna tax that? I mean, they get barely squeak by as is. So maybe looking something like a cap on that for the kupuna and stuff. But I'm sure there's other ways of working the system, so we should leverage that.
I love that. My grandma would be very grateful. Mahalo. When we're thinking about that, and you kind of mentioned these processes and a little bit about policy, is there one specific county process, policy, or even a regulation that you believe should be improved or modernized?
Infrastructure, I think, should be improved. Like a lot of red tape here and there to just remodel your home. I know some of my construction friends have that issues, like they're waiting on permits and stuff. I know that takes a long time, but maybe we need to hire more inspectors, or get the process more streamlined. I think that would be great. I think I mean, there's others, but I think that's one of the ones that I would concentrate on.
I've definitely heard that a lot. Definitely not the quickest permitting structure that we have. You talked a little bit about infrastructure. So Hawaii County faces like major infrastructure needs, right? Including federal mandated wastewater improvements, aging facilities for our kupuna, but also just facilities in general, roads, parks, and public buildings. How would you prioritize these investments and decide where taxpayer dollars should go?
Ooh, that's a good one. Prioritize family-oriented, gotta take care of the kupuna, so those would be more on the top of my list. Again, infrastructure, parks, recs, and stuff, like maybe creating like teaming up with Hilo and their athletic department on building a place that we can have bigger baseball fields, more soccer fields for sure for the kids. That I know that's popular. Football fields, something like Patsy Mink in Oahu, that recreational park, big recreational park. I mean, bring it to Hilo side. That's where we can do invitationals where we invite outside teams here and generate the economy. And then for kupuna, ECD, the care homes and stuff. I mean, we should look into taking care of our elderly for sure. I mean, my mom's getting old, and sometimes she slips and falls, and I'm like, oh my, Yeah, we need that structure. Like I love what Parks and Recs are doing with the kapuna stuff, and my mom goes to Tai Chi, I believe, and some other like classes. So I'm big supporter of that too.
My mom loves the Zumba classes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think my mom can move as fast, but she's like, I don't have coordination. I was like, well, go do Tai Chi or something instead. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about like downtown Hilo specifically. It faces insane challenges, but they're ranging, right, from vacant buildings to housing needs to public safety concerns, and then opportunities for new investment, and then who's investing in those things. What does a successful downtown Hilo look like 10 years from now, and what role do you feel like the county should play in getting us there?
Ooh, that's a very good question. That's probably going to take the rest of my time. So I'm part of the board of the Salvation Army board, So I see a lot of homelessness and people that need help down there, and to kind of answer that question is like we need to make downtown Hilo safer, because I know a lot of businesses there that I talk to, like some business owners, like they don't feel safe down there anymore. And like when we were kids, we used to walk down there like at night, like not even a care in the world. Like now it's like you feel like you always have to look over your back and watch out for the crazies. But I mean, I would work with like the police department, try and see how we can help deal with this homelessness. And some of them might be just, again, mentally ill, so get those help from them, from help get like a street team, get some counselors and psychologists, mental doctors down there, and see if we can help those people off the streets and get them back on their feet. Cleaning up Hilo. Sometimes you walk downtown, it smells kind of like feces and stuff. So we need to uplift and change something, because apparently what's there now is not working. So maybe get more presence downtown with the police, or again, we have to try something different. I feel like, yeah. But then talking about like what's the big picture is just to like create something like like a marijuana kind of feel, like where when you go down there, it's bustling, it's busy, the economy is moving, things are happening, and it's just a good time.
I love that. I can't wait to see that downtown Hilo. You talked a lot about like the houses community, transit community. The county has invested more than $30 million over the last 4 years into that exact thing. Do you feel like those investments are working, and what changes would you like them to be making moving forward?
That's a good question. 4 years is not a long time to take a step back and look, but I feel like nothing's working. So we have to try and switch, do maybe a 2-year plan of trying something different. But I know there's agencies out there that are getting monies to do things, so they need to be more transparent, I think, because the taxpayer wants to know where are these monies going to. Are they going to the directly into the program, or are they the funds are going to administration or something? They have to be more transparent, because I think taxpayers need to see where the monies are actually going, and how they're actually helping with the homelessness issue. I mean, because a lot of times you see these new ones just popping up, some of them saying they're not from here. I'm like, how do you get here? Like, we kind of want to know, like, who sent you here? Do they have to spend money to send you back? I mean, that kind of stuff. It's interesting.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in that tone, as we're sort of wrapping up on our time together here, if you are elected, what is the one thing that you want residents and those on Hawaii Island, and voters especially, to know that you helped achieve, that one thing that you brought to fruition?
That's a very good question. There's so much things. Honestly, I want people to come out and talk to me, so they can trust me. They can throw ideas at me. I mean, I'm only one person, but then again, team sports action is like, it's a village town that creates the cohesiveness, the safety. Come talk to me. Let's bounce ideas around. Like, I don't have every idea, or every answer, but if we can tussle and get ideas going. Ideas can lead to dreams, and dreams can lead to success, and that's my biggest goal, I should say, that I have for Hilo.
Mahalo. Thank
No,
you so
thank you.
much. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you to our viewers. My name is Makana, and ahui ho.